This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Over 2 million men worldwide choose Manscaped for all their below-the-waist needs. For those that love the Lawnmower 3.0, well, I got news for you. The Manscaped engineering team has confirmed that they have successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The new trimmer even allows you to customize your trim all through additional guards lengths, sizes 1 through 4. And looks-wise, it's sleek with a two-tone matte and gloss finish, even features a hot foil stamp, black chrome Manscaped logo. Show your mower off loud and proud. Go to manscaped.com, use the promo code State of Saints, and you will save 20% off of the Lawnmower 4.0 as well as other Manscaped items. That's manscaped.com. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about the Saints' loss to the Carolina Panthers in Week 2. And we're going to go ahead and give the final thoughts about this game. And before we go ahead and put this game to rest. But thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. We're recording this on a Monday morning, fresh off that loss. And, you know, this isn't going to be one of those shows where, you know, I'm like super animated. You know, I want to really have a conversation. I mean, I'm saying that. I mean, I don't know the way the show is going to go, but I'm going into this show not trying to be as animated as I usually am. And the reason why is I just want to just have a conversation. I want to talk a little bit about what we saw on yesterday and some of the things I feel the Saints need to do in order for them to make those type of adjustments where we don't see this type of thing again. First things first, I think we have to agree as Saints fans, it's been a long time since we've seen the Saints get their butt whooped like this, right? I mean, we've seen the Saints lose games, but I think maybe if you go back a couple of years ago, probably look at that Falcons game when they played the Saints in the Superdome. They gave the Saints quite a bit of a butt whooping right there. You know, I don't even think the Saints scored in that game, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Drew Brees threw a touchdown. They were trying to get one in garbage time, but it just didn't happen. The Saints got beat so bad on yesterday that they got the ball back and they took a knee, you know, like that tells you everything that you need to know about this game. But looking at this New Orleans Saints team, you can make excuses. I mean, there are excuses galore, right? You can talk about what's going on, them being displaced and living out of suitcases. You can talk about how they're missing about 10 starters on the team. You can talk about how the coaching staff isn't there. All those play a huge role. I'm not going to lie about that. But I am not going to use that as an excuse to try to discredit what Carolina has done. Carolina Panthers did a really good job, and they understood what the Saints were lacking, and they took advantage of that. And you had a lot of guys on the offensive line that were not prepared for it. I mean, they had these guys' head on a swivel, the way that they were disguising defenses And if you combine that with a very young offensive line, a guy who is a backup center who doesn't really know how to read coverages, and a new quarterback who's still trying to figure things out in his own right, I think that it was just a recipe for disaster. And also in this game, I think we take away and we walk away from this game having an appreciation for quite a few things. I want to go back to a couple months ago in the offseason when this whole Michael Thomas situation happened, and I think it was like the beginning of August. It had to be, because I think I was in Puerto Rico when the story came out. And you had people out there talking about get rid of Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas needs to get up out of here. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we can use anybody can take his place. And I was telling people, I'm like, this dude is special. And I think that sometimes when you're seeing a bunch of wins and you're seeing a bunch of success, you have a tendency to believe that the team that you're watching can win with just anybody. And that's just not the case. Michael Thomas is a special wide receiver. What makes him so special is his ability to be able to get separation in man coverage. And when you can be able to do that, it allows the defense to have to scheme for that particular person. The Saints wide receiver group right now are a bunch of decoy wide receivers throughout the years. Now you got these guys on the field as your 1, 2, and 3 respectively. That's just not going to work. The Saints need a Michael Thomas. They need somebody that a secondary can respect to a point where they have to roll some coverage that person's way. But they have absolutely no respect for the Saints wide receiver group. And why should they? These are a bunch of unproven guys, you know what I'm saying, which we all knew. These are a bunch of unproven guys that could not, can't get separation. And I know some people will say, oh, you know what I'm saying, it's a little bit hypocritical, TJ, because I said that the Saints need to go out here and get some wide receivers, and you said that the Saints, we should just look at the wide receiver group of what they had and just roll with that because you trust Sean Payton. I do trust Sean Payton, but I have to look at it in a different light, because when we were having this conversation, I was under the impression that Michael Thomas was going to be there starting week 1, because Michael Thomas is a difference maker. Michael Thomas, because of the double coverage that he is going to, get, it allows these other guys to be able to make plays. But if Michael Thomas isn't there, there's very little respect for these wide receivers. So what do you do? What do you do, Who Dat Nation? What do you do? To be honest with you, this isn't an easy fix. Like, this isn't an easy fix as far as the wide receivers, because you're not going to have Michael Thomas, until after week 6. So you're going to have to roll with some of the guys that you have out there. Now, the tight ends, they can play a huge role in the Saints offense. The only problem that I feel that the Saints face in that regard is when you go up against teams with athletic linebackers. Now, I think that the Saints can have a little bit of success at the tight end spot against the New England Patriots, because I don't feel the New England Patriots linebackers are as athletic as the Carolina Panthers linebackers are. I just feel like they can probably take advantage of that. Troutman and Juwan Johnson can possibly make some plays. But what happens when Bill Belichick actually, neutralizes that? What happens then? You're going to have to rely on some of these receivers to get open. This is a Deonte Harris type game. I'm going to be honest with you. Deonte Harris is going to have to be the X factor in the passing game in order for the Saints to find success, because he is one of those guys that I feel like Sean Payton isn't utilizing as much. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like he's being utilized to a point where you're looking at him with the wide receiver screens, and you're looking at him, with some of these jet sweeps that he can possibly do. The dude is extremely elusive, and I just feel like he needs to be used a little bit more. As far as the wide receiver group, this is going to continue to be an issue until Michael Thomas comes back. Now, you can do a few things, right? You can go out here and try to see if you can trade for some wide receiver out there that you can bring in. Okay, there's one wide receiver that I'm looking at right now that I feel like would be a good fit that could help the New Orleans Saints until Michael Thomas gets back, and that is Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks can be, a key factor And you know what I'm saying, with the New Orleans Saints, I feel like he'll be able to win his matchups in order to find success. Another person that I feel would be beneficial to the New Orleans Saints, a lot of people aren't paying attention to because I guess, you know what I'm saying, due to his age, but Larry Fitzgerald. You know, I think Larry Fitzgerald would be a really good fit for the New Orleans Saints. Yes, he is 38 years old. And yes, you know what I'm saying, I am looking at the fact that he's not the Larry Fitzgerald of old. But throughout the years, Larry Fitzgerald was able to line up in the slot and able to win that matchup versus that nickel corner. And we know for a fact that Larry Fitzgerald has short hands and he's still fundamentally sound. And it wasn't to a point where Larry Fitzgerald was just so god awful that teams, you know what I'm saying, just didn't want to like deal with him anymore. Larry Fitzgerald was still catching passes at a high rate. He was still running crisp routes. And I just feel like he would be beneficial to the New Orleans Saints, especially, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to like the short game, moving the chains, you know what I'm saying, on those third down plays. I just feel like he will be able to be a good fit. And as far as like him being, you know, injured throughout the years, I don't expect for him to play as many snaps as he did when he was with Arizona. I do think the durability is a factor, but I'm talking about a player that fits that mold of the New Orleans Saints. I feel like he will fit that mold that the Saints really need right now, because it's not just about, you know what I'm saying, speed, because the Saints have speed on the outside. Callaway can fly, Deonte Harris can fly. But, you know, I think it's about being fundamentally sound. It's about winning your matchups. So those are two guys that I see right now that I feel like would be a really good fit for the New Orleans Saints. You know, I'm not expecting Larry Fitzgerald to be all pro Larry Fitzgerald, but Larry Fitzgerald can move the sticks, and, you know what I'm saying, he's short-handed. And I think that he can do some things to a point where, you know, teams going to have to accommodate for his ability in order for, you know, his ability to be able to run routes crisply and, you know, and also be able to catch the ball. So that's what I feel like the Saints need to do. And the reason why I'm not talking about going out here making no drastic changes to a point where we trying to get somebody like Devontae Adams or something like that is because Michael Thomas is coming back. You know, like, you just need somebody to be able to hold down the fort until, you know what I'm saying, the cavalry comes, so to speak. So that is what I'm looking at. I think those are two guys out there right now that would be a really good fit for the New Orleans Saints. I really do. As far as the offensive line is concerned, that was a sorry, pathetic excuse of a game yesterday. The offensive line is much better than what they played. I just think that when you have a brand new center in Cesar Ruiz, guy really don't know how to look at coverages and stuff like that and call them out. You know what I'm saying? When I look at, you know, I look at a team like this and struggling on the offensive line, it just makes me think about how we take Drew Brees for granted. Like, some of us, you know what I'm saying, was talking about Drew Brees' arm strength, and that was the deal breaker for us. But we didn't really accommodate for how good Drew Brees is at calling out the blitzes, you know what I'm saying, putting the offensive line in positions to protect, telling, you know what I'm saying, who these guys to protect, you know what I'm saying, and telling who the Mike, who the Sam, who the Will is, letting his offensive line know. Those are the type of things that we take for granted as Saints fans. You know, like the little things, because like I said, all of that success, all of that winning kind of clouds our judgment, and it's to a point where we just feel like we're just undefeated, unbreakable, unshakable. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go ahead and copy and paste and put whoever you want up in that thing. We're still going to find success. It's only a matter of time before the next man up moniker catches up with you. And you look at some of these guys that were out, man, those are some key guys that the Saints had out. Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Marshawn Lattimore, Eric McCoy, Quan Alexander. I mean, come on, man. The list goes on and on. Like, these guys, you know what I'm saying, are so beneficial to this team's success. But I will say this, I'd rather them be missing time this early in the season than for them to be missing time late. The Saints have an issue with the linebacking group. The Saints have an issue with the linebacking group right now. These guys cannot cover. They cannot cover. Like, Zach Bond was like in a whirlwind on yesterday. And, I think I want to give a shout out to Kevin, on New Orleans Football along with Nick Underhill. I seen his tweet. He said that's why you don't put so much stock into preseason, because in that first game we seen Zach Bond versus the Baltimore Ravens, he was flying all over the field. And we were so excited and so happy. We felt like the light came on for him because he was making plays. And he did make a play on yesterday. He returned the block field goal, which was a good play. But at the same time, I said this yesterday when Chosen called in. I said, man, it's hard to put cologne on a musty body. You know what I'm saying? Just because you put cologne on a musty body don't mean that the body ain't musty. You know what I'm saying? You can't disguise the smell of musk. I can still smell it. You know what I'm saying? After I finish smelling that cologne, I'm still going to smell the stench that is coming from your body. Zach Bond on yesterday was a liability. So much of a liability that the Saints put in Andrew Dowell, the linebacker that plays on special teams, to take his place because that's how bad it got. The Saints, I just, there are so many different issues with this team, but defensively, I feel like it can be addressed because in the second half, they improved. Okay. I mean, they neutralized Carolina. Carolina didn't score any points in the third quarter, and they played, admirable. But the thing about it is, man, you got to play complementary football if your team is going to win. If your team is going to win, you got to play complementary football. Not having Alvin Kamara running the football, not having Tony Jones Jr. running the football, trying to put it into the hands of Jameis Winston is not going to cut it. Not at this stage. Not at this stage. The Saints are going to have to become a run-first offense in order for them to find success. Jameis Winston, at this stage, right now, I'm not saying that he can't eventually get to this point. The Saints cannot lean on Jameis Winston to bring them back in the game. Because Jameis Winston, at this particular stage of his career, his second year with the New Orleans Saints, I feel like isn't able to do that right now. When you put a lot of pressure on Jameis Winston, he wants to play hero ball. He just the way that he is. It's almost like with T.O. T.O. was on the sidelines. I don't know if y'all ever seen that famous soundbite when he said, "Who can make a play? I can." I feel like it's the same way with Jameis. When he feels like his back against the wall, when the game is on the line, and he feels like nothing is going right, he takes all of that pressure and puts it on himself, and he tries to make something happen. And what you have are situations that happened on yesterday. And I just feel like he understood that the offensive line was having a bad day. The running game was having a bad day. So he took it upon himself to try to lead the pack, and that's when the mistakes start to occur. They need to become a run-first team in order for them to find levels of success, because here's the thing. Their defense is going to have to play lights out in order for them to win some of these football games until people like Michael Thomas comes back. They cannot afford to be behind the 8 ball. They just can't, because if you bring pressure on this team, they are in trouble as of right now. They are. You know what I'm saying? They are in trouble as of right now, because now everybody sees all you have to do is go out there, jump on the Saints early, you know what I'm saying, like impose your will on them, get yourself a lead, and hope, you know what I'm saying, wait for Jameis Winston to make mistakes. That is the recipe for success for any team that's watching the New Orleans Saints right now. A lot of things happened yesterday with the New Orleans Saints as far as, not having the right coaching staff, not having the coaching staff out there, you know what I'm saying, missing guys. I read a report that Ian Book was in charge of substitutions on yesterday. Rookie Ian Book was, was calling out the substitutions, for people to go in and out of the game. Coaches on the sidelines are important. Head coaches are important, don't get me wrong, but this is one of those things, once again, we take for granted. Assistant coaches, guys that are not on the sidelines, that are seeing certain things on the field in order to help some of these players be able to make these plays. A lot of us just say, oh, man, it's Sean Payton. Yes, it is. Sean Payton is the one that helps put this group of coaches together. But it takes all of these guys collectively to bring out the best in his team. And I just think that the Saints were, dealing with that, the loss of those coaches. It shows you how important some of the little things that we take for granted as fans are. Calling out coverages, You know what I'm saying? Offensive line blocking assignments, wide receiver play, coaches on the sideline. This kind of stuff is extremely important. But I want to give a shout out to the Carolina Panthers fans. I think that they played a huge role in this game too. They were loud. They were making a lot of noise. They was making it very, very tough for the New Orleans Saints. And I don't know if the Saints practiced on their silent count or not. I don't know what the heck was going on with that. But the Carolina Panthers fans out there at Bank of America Stadium showed up and showed out. And they should be proud of themselves as a fan base because they played a huge role in this game as far as like making it very tough for the New Orleans Saints. But let me go ahead and read some of the comments. First off, I want to thank the Saints O-line for the $2. Says someone called the cops. We gonna miss him. Yeah, they definitely wasn't available yesterday. You know what I'm saying? They went AWOL. But man, look, the energy just wasn't there yesterday. Like, man, look, you can fake with a lot of people, but you can't fake with me. Like, the energy was not there. There was no swag, no drip, no nothing out there on that field. There were some guys that were missing that I feel like brings a spark to this team. Quan Alexander is one. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is another. Marshawn Lattimore neutralizing and locking down the primary receiver of a team. Those type of guys were missing, and I feel like that is kind of like I feel like the Mario Davis, Cam Jordan are the heart and soul of the defense. But you have guys out there that I feel like are the fire of the defense, and those guys were on the sidelines. And those are some guys that I feel like are so important to this team. But, like I said, I'd rather they miss time right now than a miss time down the line when the Saints are really trying to get themselves into playoff positioning. But, I mean, it is what it is, man. The Saints, they just did not play a really good game yesterday. The Saints didn't lose to a bunch of jabronis. It's the NFL. Yeah, I mean, the Carolina Panthers are a good football team. I think that people, underestimate those guys because, once again, we look at what happened last year and we just think that it's going to apply to this year. But that's just not how the NFL works. Guys get better every single year. Some of the guys that probably struggled in certain areas of their game become better. Younger players become seasoned veterans. The game starts to get slower for them, and they understand their assignments. And they went out there and they did themselves a really good job. But I would like to see this game again when all hands on deck. As far as the Saints, I don't think it would be a 26-7 victory. I can tell you that right now. We just got to make it to the bye week so we can reload and get our guys back. Hopefully, we can get there at 3-2. Yeah, I mean, look, you got the Patriots next week in Gillette. That's going to be a tough game. I'm not going to lie to you. Gillette Stadium is a tough place to play. Then you got yourself with the football team and the Giants. I mean, those are both winnable games. But, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, I'm not looking past Washington because Washington always play the Saints tough. And you got to add the dynamic of Rod Rivera, Riverboat Ryan, you know what I'm saying, who is familiar with the Saints offense and their tendencies, familiar with Jameis Winston from, him going up against, Tampa, when Jameis was the quarterback. So you got to add that in there. And also with the Giants, they're a prideful team, man. They're not just a team that's just going to get off the bus and be like, oh, man, we about to lose to the Saints. They don't work like that. So they're going to have to play. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to play. But it'll be good to know that they're going to come back to the Superdome. I feel like that game, they're going to be extremely inspired. Like, I think the Saints are going to be inspired for those games. I can tell you that, especially being back after everything that happened, people being displaced, people losing their homes, due to this storm. The Saints are going to find some level of motivation. But look, this happens all the time. Like around this time last year, I don't know if y'all remember this, but the Saints got beat down by the Raiders. I don't know if y'all remember that or not, but the Saints lost to the Raiders and we thought the sky was falling. But eventually they found themselves rallying back. The Saints always, for some apparent reason, start off a little bit slow when it comes to, the first couple games of the season, and then they start to click and gel. So I see some things that with the New Orleans Saints, normally you'll see around week 8 or week 9 coming into week 1 and week 2. So that's optimistic to me. So that's a good thing if you're a Saints fan. Let's see. Stills and Kevin White need to play. Sorry, TJ, but Hogan, Jordan Humphreys, Juwan can't separate. Well, I'm not going to look at it from Chris Hogan. I've seen some plays Chris Hogan was getting open. You know, there was one play in particular where Chris Hogan actually got separation, and he probably would have caught the ball and kept running. But the ball was batted down. There was one play, you know what I'm saying, in which, you know what I'm saying, he was open and he got overthrown by Jameis. So, I mean, when I was looking at Chris Hogan, I was seeing some separation coming from Chris. But when it comes to these other guys, I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing any type of separation from these guys at all. I don't see guys winning matchups. And I went back and I watched the game. You know what I'm saying? I went back and watched it this morning. I checked it out. I took a look at it. I evaluated it. And I you know what I'm saying? I did a Shannon Sharp move. I looked at it with the sound down. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I looked at some of these plays and what led to them. You know, even like that Jameis Winston interception. Like I the first one, you know what I'm saying? Like the first one, I seen what he was trying to do, but it just didn't happen. Okay. I just think that what he was trying to do, he rolled out of the pocket and he was trying to set his feet, but there was a defender that came off his blind side that he didn't see. You know what I'm saying? Out the corner of his eye. He didn't see him. So when he threw the ball, he flinched. You know what I'm saying? And when he flinched, the ball went up into the air. Now he would try, if he would have planted his feet and threw the ball, it would have got to Deonte Harris. It would have got to him, but he wasn't able to plant his feet because the defender came right there and he flinched. And because of that, he was like, oh, snap. You know what I'm saying? He fell, and that's why he threw the interception. Now, it was desperation now. It was pure desperation. I seen what he was looking at, but it just wasn't a good look. There was one play on the offensive line which led to the interception. Cesar Ruiz and Andrus Peat blocked no one at all. Like, there's some footage out there right now if you're on Twitter. When the ball was snapped, these two guys went in two different directions, and neither one of those directions led to number 21 getting any type of hands on him. I mean, this dude was running free, period, right to Jameis Winston, which set up that interception because of the pressure. So that offensive line, man, it needs, I don't want to say it needs some work, but the communication in this game was god awful. It was awful, man. It was absolutely awful. TJ Jones, we had Brandon Cook a couple years ago, but we cut him. We didn't cut him. We traded him. Which is the reason why, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I want people to understand why they did this. This is the reason why they cut Brandon Cooks. Because the Saints understood that eventually they were going to have to pay him and Michael Thomas. They knew that they had to make a choice. One thing about Brandon Cooks was fast, but Brandon Cooks could not get that yak. He could not get yards after the catch. And I feel like if you're a New Orleans Saints player and they understood what was going on with Drew Brees, you had to look at this. Drew Brees, in the twilight of his career, couldn't get the ball downfield that catered to the strength of Brandon Cooks, but you have a guy like Michael Thomas who can get separation and win those matchups with those quick slants, with those out routes. He can win these matchups, and it falls into the strength of what Drew Brees could do in the twilight of his career. So the Saints made a choice, and it was a good choice because Brandon Cooks ended up getting paid from the Rams, and Michael Thomas ended up getting paid for them. And I don't think anybody can sit up here and say, you know, I mean, I know out of sight, out of mind, and when you're not playing, all of a sudden, like, we wasting money with you. But I don't think any logical New Orleans Saints fan would say that the Saints made a mistake drafting Michael Thomas and trading Brandon Cooks. Because in the process, even trading Brandon Cooks, what did Brandon Cooks turn into? What did he turn into? Ryan Ramczyk, if I'm not mistaken. So come on, man. Like, seriously. That, I mean, you look at this, you know what I'm saying? Like, what did it turn into? He turned to Ryan Ramczyk. I ain't got no problem with that. I'm sorry. I ain't got no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ryan Ramczyk, arguably one of the best right tackle, if not the best right tackle in football, just got a contract extension. So I think the Saints won in that. But now you have yourself Jameis Winston, who can get the ball down the field and be able to cater and play to the strengths of a Brandon Cooks. I feel like that would be, you know what I'm saying, a good move for the New Orleans Saints. But I just think that the New Orleans Saints need to get Deonte Harris more involved in this offense. I really do, man. The dude is just super dynamic. Every time he touches the ball, something positive happened. I just don't understand why they don't utilize him as much as they should. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I know they try to put him on the outside and they put Lil Jordan Humphries in the slot, but maybe y'all need to change that up. Maybe put Deonte Harris in the slot. Let that man eat. The dude is a dynamic wide receiver, and the ball is magic in this dude's hands. So I think that they need to try to find a way to get this dude involved. And, you know, I mean, Kenny Stills is most likely going to be taking Lil Jordan Humphries' place. You know what I'm saying? Lil Jordan Humphrey probably going to be a part of the rotation. But, I like Lil Jordan a lot, but Lil Jordan is more of a decoy receiver than he is a pass-catching receiver. I don't really count on Lil Jordan Humphries to make several plays per game. I expect for him, like, if, you know what I'm saying, somebody like, you know, him kind of tiptoe, you know what I'm saying, out there, and somebody just forget he out there and they throw the ball to him and he get a first down, or, you know what I'm saying, he'll get 6 or 7 yards. That's just the type of receiver he is. And I'm not saying that he's bad, but that's just the way it is. I don't look for this guy to go out. Like, if Lil Jordan Humphries goes over 100 yards, like, at any time in his career, would be a shock to me. Like, it would be like a show where, you know what I'm saying, I would have to take, you know what I'm saying, like, I would really be taken back by his performance. I can't see that. He's just, to me, he's not that type of receiver. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to talk about this dude, bad mouth him, but he's just not that guy. You know, and even like with Callaway is not a number one receiver. He's not. You know what I'm saying? He's a 2 or a 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, he falls into that category. He will win his matchups if you have a number one receiver out there. I feel like he can do some damage if you have a number one receiver out there. Like, he can go out there and he can make some plays if your number one receiver is present. But putting him in that number one role, getting double covered and stuff like that, he's not going to win those matchups, man. He's just not at this stage of his career. So I seen somebody, man, I want to say after that Jaguars game when he had those 2 touchdowns, and somebody was like, you know, Michael Thomas, you know, need to watch out because you might have a number one. I'm like, man, knock it off. You talking about prisoner of the moment. My goodness. Ruiz and Pete do not need to be by each other. Yeah, that was pretty bad. But as far as Andrus Peat is concerned, man, Pete is Pete. Pete is gonna Pete every single game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to badmouth this guy, but he gives up a awful play every single game. To me, he's not the worst guard I ever seen. He's solid. You never mistake him for being good or great. He's solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a solid player. Do I feel like the Saints at the end of the year may need to go in a different direction? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do I feel like Andrus Peat can get you, you know what I'm saying, some solid snaps, you know what I'm saying, at that guard position? Yes. But he's going to give up a play where it just looks like he doesn't even belong in the NFL every single game. And, you know, the thing about it is, what really bothers me is, I mean, this dude is like, what is it, 6th season, if I'm not mistaken? He's been in the league about 6 years. I think he came out around the same time Jameis did. I mean, he's like in his 6th or 7th season, man. He was still having these same type of issues, man. Like, you should be one of the most solid players on the team. Like, you should be one of the best, you know what I'm saying, parts of the team. And like I say, some games he'll go out there and he'll be dominant. And then they got some games where he just look like he don't even belong out there, man. You know, I mean, I don't know. I think the Saints may need to go in a different direction next season. I mean, I could be wrong, man, but I don't know. I think that you can get some better production, some better fire, some more swag, more drip, more confident offensive lineman than you could in Andrus Peat. I really do. Didn't the Giants release Benjamin for stealing cookies or chips? He's done. Yeah, man. I don't know if somebody mentioned Kelvin Benjamin, but, man, you got to be crazy, man. Kelvin Benjamin ate his way out of the league, Eddie Lacy style. Look, I'm not going to beat up on the dude or whatever like that. I don't know the situation. I don't know the stories. But, you know, he had no discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like, when guys have an opportunity like this, right? You're a first-round draft pick. You can arguably be, you know what I'm saying, one of the best players at your position, had a really solid rookie season. And then you go out there and, you know what I'm saying, you gain weight, you get up to almost 300 pounds as a receiver. And, you know what I'm saying, you don't do the right things, you don't get the right nutrition, you don't try to, do the little things in order to make yourself a better player. You're just okay and content at the fact, oh, I'm in the NFL, I made it. I don't want guys like that on my squad. You know what I'm saying? He has to prove something to me. You know what I'm saying? They were even able, try to bring him back by making him a tight end, and that didn't work out. The guy just didn't have any discipline, man. Your job is to make sure that your body and your mind is in peak playing condition. And for you to go out there and potato chip and Whopper Jr. your way out the league, nah, man, that ain't it, bro. That ain't it. Saints didn't use Jones either. They didn't make adjustments or nothing. It's like they were sleepwalking. Look, that was just god awful. I'm looking at this game. I'm dead serious. I'm looking at this game offensively. I don't think there's a thing that I've seen the Saints do right the whole game offensively. Seriously. It was that bad. It was plays few and far in between. But when I come away from watching the game and the bright spot of the game is a punter, and no disrespect to Blake Gillikin. I mean, he was out there doing his thing. But when Blake Gillikin, the punter, is the highlight of your game, as a fan, as a reporter, you know what I'm saying, as a prognosticator, as a viewer, that is sad, man. You want your punter to go out there and be booming them punts, but you want that to kind of be the side story. Blake Gillikin is probably the main, if you're talking about highlights and positivity coming from a team, Blake Gillikin, the punter, the second-year guy out of Penn State, is the bright spot of what happened against the Carolina Panthers. That's sad, bro. That's sad. Seriously, that is sad. There was nothing that, honestly, the running game was terrible. The offensive line was terrible. The wide receivers couldn't get separation. That was terrible. Some of the plays and, some of the decisions that were made at the quarterback position weren't the best. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was bad, man. Linebacker play, it coverage was terrible. It wasn't much positive in this game. You know what I'm saying? There was some, like I said, play few and far in between, but more times than not, it was not a good. It was one of the worst performances I've seen since the Saints played the Falcons a couple years ago when they got blew out in the Superdome. That it was that bad, dude. Please sign Benjamin so we can solidify third place in the division. Yeah, man. I mean, look, the wide receiver group, that's not an easy fix. First round pick was eating. Yeah, Peyton Turner was definitely one of the bright spots too. You know what I'm saying? He was out there, being disruptive. And, it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? The confidence that, that he played with against the Carolina Panthers, and that being your very first game ever as a pro, got to be positive. TJ, I was wrong. Also, Panthers had a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look, the Saints, rather you guys want to believe it or not, they're the measuring stick. Even though they didn't win the Super Bowl, even though, as far as what the division is concerned, the Saints are the measuring stick. They are the team to beat. And I don't even think it was about them reading their press clippings. I just think that it was just a bad game. You know what I'm saying? It was just a bad. It was a poorly coached game. You know what I'm saying? It was. I just don't think the players were in the position to succeed. I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened this past week, but last week I should say. But yeah, you can tell. Hard to believe the Saints paid Pete $11 million per season. Still a weak link. Please sign Benjamin. Already read that. Jameis, primary wide receiver, was covered every time he attempted to throw. That's the problem, folks. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's definitely a problem. Guys not getting separation. I mean, Dante Jackson and J.C. Horn aren't like corners that, sneeze at. You know what I'm saying? These ain't guys like you oh, man, these dudes can't ball. These guys are really good. Y'all seen Dante Jackson play at LSU, and every Saints fan wanted the Saints to aggressively move up for J.C. Horn. So we know how good this guy is. We know how, this guy can play. Even C.J. Gardner-Johnson said he respects him. You know what I'm saying? C.J. Gardner-Johnson don't really respect anybody. He said they don't have many dogs on the team, but number 8 is one. So you got to give respect where respect is due, man. So when you have some above average, good, borderline elite players going up against guys that are solid, I mean, those good borderline elite players are going to win more times than not. I'm 5'11" and 230, probably run a 4.8. I think I could help the Saints receiving group. Yeah, I mean, look, they just got to find ways to get the playmakers involved. I just think that they need to. First off, I know the Saints don't want to do this, but they probably going to have to. They're going to have to get Taysom Hill more involved in the offense until, like, these guys get back. I understand he's the backup quarterback. I understand that, you don't want to take away from, if something was to happen to Jameis for Taysom to come in. I get it. But his ability to be on the field, he's a matchup nightmare. He was able to get like 8 yards plus yards. And he can be that spark that the Saints need when they're trailing. So I don't know if you need to get Trevor Siemian as the emergency backup and allow Taysom Hill to be in his Swiss Army role, but something needs to take place. Get Taysom Hill more involved. Number 2, Deonte Harris, getting him involved, man. And also, man, just Alvin Kamara, man, that is just inexcusable. Alvin Kamara is your best player. You gotta get him more touches. You're not gonna win no game with Alvin Kamara only getting 8 carries in a football game. You're not winning nothing. You ain't winning nothing. TJ, I'll take Larry anytime. Look, I'll roll with Larry Fitzgerald because, like I said, he fits that mold of what the Saints do best. You know what I'm saying? Like the Saints like those fundamentally sound guys, and I just think that he's not what he used to be, but he's still a really good route runner, and he has really good hands. And you need that kind of stuff, whether it's to move the chains, to sustain drives. You got the guys that can fly down the field. Now you need a guy, to me, that can run those crisp routes that can get open. And I feel like Larry Fitzgerald would be a good fit. I'm not looking for Larry Fitzgerald to come in, go over 100 yards. No, man, but just somebody that can go out there that's fundamentally sound, that can, move the chains, and somebody that you can depend on. JC going to be nice. He legit already. Saints didn't lose momentum. We will bounce back. Yes, Pete Warner does need to get out there. I think he's still dealing with an injury. I love sports podcast. Turner wasn't very good. I don't know what you was watching. I don't know what you were watching, man. I love sports podcast. He probably was the best part of that defensive line on yesterday. Bad draft pick, man. I don't know what you talking about, man. You must have did the bird box challenge or something like that watching that Saints game. That dude was the best part of the team, man. That man was the best part of the defensive line on yesterday. Extremely disruptive. I don't know about that one, man. I don't know what you saw, man. I disagree with that one. We missed Quan and CJ badly yesterday to cover the backs and those crossing routes. Yeah, I agree with that. But look, I think the Saints look no further. Look, they need to get themselves I don't know, because maybe Pete Warner would be the answer. But from what I see right now, the Saints need to, if I'm looking at the 2022 draft or whatever like that, like they got to get themselves another wide receiver, and they got to get themselves a linebacker. And look, I know people I'm being dead serious, and I like this guy a lot, but I feel like this is hypocrisy at its best, because we have out there, we will badmouth Marcus Davenport. We'll talk about this dude. We'll talk about this dude soft. We'll talk about this dude, a China doll. We'll say all these different things about this dude. But we yet to really address the elephant in the room when it comes to Quan Alexander. Like, he's good. He's a force when he's out there. As they say, he's hell when he's well, but he's always hurt too. I mean, come on, man. Like, let's just be real about this. He's always hurt too. I don't understand like how, like I said, I'm not knocking neither one of these guys. They're both good. But I'm just saying, I just feel like it's kind of hypocritical. Hypocrisy at its best for us to go out here and badmouth Marcus Davenport and talk about this dude never play, never out there, never available. And then we'll turn around and talk about how good Quan Alexander is. And don't address the fact that he's always hurt, and he's been hurt throughout his entire career. There's a reason why the Saints were able to trade for him. As good as he is, he's, you know what I'm saying, he's not available on a consistent basis. So I feel like, why is it that Quan Alexander gets a pass? Oh, you know what I'm saying, we need Quan. But when we need Davenport, oh, man, he's soft. Oh, he can't play. He always hurt. So how is it? I'm just being honest. How is it that we're giving a pass to a guy like Quan? He don't get that type of criticism, and Marcus Davenport do. I don't see a difference. I don't. If we're evaluating guys being hurt all the time, if we're evaluating guys not being available, how come we never have that same type of energy for Quan Alexander? I mean, look, he brings a lot of fire. He brings a lot of intensity. He brings a lot of energy to the team. We like him as a player. We like how he talks about being legendary, but he's always hurt. So I just feel like you can't sit up here and just say, oh, you know what I'm saying, like Davenport. But don't look at the fact that Quan is always hurt too. Because he's an LSU guy, he gets a pass, which isn't fair. Well, he shouldn't. You know, he shouldn't. And I like Quan Alexander. You know what I'm saying? And this is not a knock on him. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm looking at it from a criticism standpoint. How we criticize certain players that we have a tendency of always criticizing. And some of us, we do the same things that we accuse the national media of doing to Jameis. If Andrus Peat goes out there and have a solid game, we don't acknowledge that. We only acknowledge Andrus Peat when he does something bad. Marcus Davenport, he can go out there and have a really good game. We only criticize Davenport. Oh, he hurt again. We don't give the guys the credit. You know what I'm saying? When they play solid, we don't acknowledge the you know what I'm saying, the good things that we actually see out of those guys. But we're ready, willing, and able to go out here and talk about these guys' imperfections. So my question is to everybody in the Who Dat Nation, what the freak is the difference? You cannot pick and choose and have these type of conversations. That is the stuff that makes people feel like we're a bunch of whiners or we're just a bunch of complainers. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Because that you cannot have it both ways. If you want to talk about Davenport not being available, you have to talk about Quan Alexander being available. And if we want to talk about Quan Alexander hoping and wishing and praying that the Saints re-sign Quan Alexander, I mean, he has the same type of promise as Davenport. Davenport, what we seen out there against the Green Bay Packers in the preseason, throughout games, throughout his career when he's been healthy, he shows a lot of promise, just like Quan Alexander. So tell me, what is the difference? My boys have to regroup and figure it out. Seems to me like O-line was tired from the start. Straight got bullied. Yeah, they definitely got beat up on. Let's see. You think Cam Jordan going at the end of the year, he good, but not great. Need an X factor on the edge to get more pressure. You know, that's something that I feel like I need a couple weeks in order for me to evaluate. You know, I gotta see it. I need a couple weeks because that would be a prisoner of the moment take if I was to tell you about Cam Jordan. I need a couple more weeks for me to, you know, give you a accurate take on Cam Jordan. All I know is Cam Jordan, you know what I'm saying, been a heart and soul of this defensive line for a while. I still see him getting pressure on the quarterback. I see him chasing down quarterbacks and stuff like that, pushing them out of bounds. I understand like how, you know what I'm saying, we equate defensive line play to getting sacks. I get it. But I'm still seeing him hustle. I still see people not being able to run to his side. But I need a couple more weeks for me to just sit up here and give you that answer. Kyle says, call a spade a spade. Dre Day says, TJ, I think fans are critical of Davenport over Quan because we drafted Davenport and Quan was a free agent signing. Now, we traded for him, though. We traded for him in the middle of the season. We traded for him in the middle of the season. I mean, and then, okay, and I feel like this right here, that's kind of hypocritical too, right? Because let's look at it this way. If we sign a guy, right, we expect this guy to change our misfortunes at a position. Let's go back to dude's name. Jarius Byrd, 9 interceptions coming from the Buffalo Bills, right? Okay, we expected this guy to come in at safety to change the misfortune of the Saints secondary, but he was always hurt, right? He was always hurt. The Saints, you know what I'm saying? The Saints signed this dude. I feel like it's the same way. If you want to talk about guys being signed, okay, coming to a team, you know what I'm saying? If the Saints sign this guy, they expect for him to do some things. They expect for him to do some damage. Same thing with Jared Cook, right? Same thing with Jared Cook. You expected him to do some freaking damage. Larry Warford, you're expecting him to do some freaking damage. You're expecting for him to be out there and be better at the position than than the predecessor. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. If the Saints sign him, we expect for him to be on the field. And me personally, I don't feel like we can pick and choose this situation because the issues that we face with these guys is them not being available. I can't say, oh, he's not available, but we didn't draft him, but we counting on him to make plays in order for the defense to be successful. What's the difference? Oh, because we didn't draft him? Oh, man, we didn't draft him, so it's all good. But he's a starter. And you know what I'm saying? He's a difference maker. I can't accept that, man. I get it. You know what I'm saying? That you're like Dre Day, you're entitled to your opinion. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that you're wrong. I have to disagree. I'm just disagreeing with that take because everybody, you know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are, from the quarterback to the punter, there's an expectation. There, you know what I'm saying? There's an expectation for you to perform at a high level and for you to play to the best of your ability and for you to have availability. And if you don't check those 3 marks, then you're not being beneficial to the team, no matter who you are, no matter where you went. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you come from, LSU, ULM, you know what I'm saying, Louisiana Lafayette, you know what I'm saying, Northwestern, no matter where you come from, it can be any part of Louisiana. You do not get a pass for not being available. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sorry, especially when a team needs you, and it is painstakingly obvious when you're not available. You don't get a pass. So I cannot sit up here and allow people, for those that just keep on kicking and talking about Davenport and not looking at Quan Alexander in the same light. Because we needed both of them on yesterday, you know? I think that Quan is always hurt, but when healthy, he feels his presence. Not the same with Davenport. I mean, Davenport, you know what I'm saying, presence was felt in that first game. His presence was felt, you know what I'm saying, his presence was felt in a few games. You know what I'm saying? Not so much last year. He had a down year, but the year before that, felt his presence in that Washington football team game, in the game versus the Minnesota Vikings. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like this dude can't play. And you know what I'm saying? And in preseason, transitioning to the regular season, you can arguably say he probably was the best defensive lineman on the team. He came into this season, if you're looking at Saints games and you're looking at people being disruptive and handling their business and making plays, you come into 2021 saying that Marcus Davenport was the best defensive lineman on the team going into training camp, preseason, regular season. He walked out there as the best defensive lineman the Saints had. To me, the way that he played and developed and how disruptive he was, my dude, you know what I'm saying? He turned the corner. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and make excuses. And honestly, I want to say this. If Davenport is hurt and he's not being productive, wouldn't that mean that Quan Alexander, you know what I'm saying, should be more, you know what I'm saying, talked about than he is? If he is more productive at the defensive, at his position than Davenport is, shouldn't Quan Alexander be talked about more than that of a Marcus Davenport? I'm just wondering. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, if you're looking at the injury list, right, and you see Trevor Siemian hurt his ankle, knocking on wood, because I don't want nothing to happen to Trevor. Shout out to Trevor Siemian. But if he hurts his ankle, wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, you'll feel some type of way about it, but you know what I'm saying, like, oh man, he hurt. But what if Taysom or Jameis gets hurt, it's a bigger deal. So it should seem like people should be really up in arms more about Quan being hurt than Davenport if Quan is a better player than Davenport. And if Quan showed you more than what Davenport is showing you, you would think that people would be a little bit more upset about that. But we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but I want to thank the fine folks at Manscaped.com, the official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast. Go to Manscaped.com, use the promo code State of Saints. You will save 20% off of your purchase. And I want to thank the fine folks at Manscaped. I really do appreciate it. Make sure that y'all go to Manscaped and get that 20% off by using the promo code, all one word, State of Saints. Y'all sound crazy up in here. Bench Jameis for what? After one game, New Age Saints fans, I tell you. Look, let me tell you something. Anybody that's talking about benching Jameis Winston after one game, I'm just gonna say this. You need to really evaluate your knowledge of football, because that would not be a smart move. See, I peeped some of y'all out a long time ago. Right, I peeped some of y'all a long time ago. See, the thing about it is, I never see y'all cats. Y'all some Atlanta Falcon cats to me. Y'all the type of people, for the exception of Mark, because Mark is the only one I've seen. Shouts out to my guy Mark. He's on Facebook. He's the only person I've seen out there, good, bad, and indifferent, that said, that stood his ground. Some of y'all, I mean, for the majority, I don't see y'all unless this dude doing something terrible. Y'all some straight Atlanta Falcon fan stuff right there. Only see y'all when y'all want to be proven right. And for that, you get absolutely no respect, no strikes from your boy right here, because people are going to stand on their word. You're not going to go around here and look and go in hiding because what you did or what you said didn't come true. But some of y'all, man, you need to go ahead and bench him. It's because you felt that way from the beginning. And you wanted to see this guy fail, which I don't understand. Like, how in the world can you call yourself a fan, hoping and praying that a guy can fail just so you can be proven right? That is the dumbest logic I ever heard or ever seen in my entire life. Some of you would rather the Saints fail to be proven right, just to say that, oh, Jameis is not a good quarterback. I do not want to sit up here after 5-10 weeks and be saying that Jameis is a bad quarterback. And as a Saints fan, you should feel the same way. You should feel the same exact way. The guy had, didn't have the best game in the world. Well, the offensive line didn't have didn't have the best game in the world. The secondary, the linebackers. There's a conglomerate of things that happen in this game versus Carolina that people can point to. But we like to point to the low-hanging fruit. We like to point to the low-hanging fruit. Jameis Winston, the narrative is, he's the Jekyll and Hyde of quarterbacks. He looks good one week, look terrible the next. He's going to throw a whole bunch of interceptions. That's just who he is. We fall into that same ridiculous narrative. All I'm saying is this, man. Wait for a couple weeks to show up. Some of you continuously think the sky is falling. Your emotions. I mean, come on, man. Like all this, all this up and down stuff, stock market type mentality is not going to cut it, because it is football. Football is the game of emotions. The Saints, can go out here, blow a team out one week in the Packers and lose the next week. It's just like any other team. It's just like any other team, man. You look at, some of these other teams that found success, looked terrible last week. Like you look at the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, what? Chandler Jones had 4 sacks in the game. Then they come right back against Seattle and beat them. So you can't sit up here and just can't fully understand that football is the game of emotions. It's the highs and the lows. And we need to stop drawing conclusions and drawing our logic based on what happened in, from week to week. Because schemes, make these games. How they talk about styles make fights, right? If you're a boxing fan, they talk about styles make fights. So, you see a certain fighter who's a brawler going up against a finesse fighter, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to see yourself a boring fight. But if you see a guy that's a brawler, going up against a guy that's another brawler, you probably going to see something that's probably going to end up being match of the year, boxing match of the year. That's just how it works. what the Saints are doing well right now, the Carolina Panthers had an answer for. Like the Saints right now, like passing to the tight ends would be beneficial to the New Orleans Saints. The linebackers of the Carolina Panthers are extremely athletic, so they were able to neutralize that. And if you combine the fact that the wide receivers aren't getting separation, it was just a bad fit for the New Orleans Saints. It was just a bad fit. It just did not work. It just didn't work. It is what it is. So I'm not going to knock this dude and just say, oh, man, he deserved to get benched. If you feeling like that, you felt like this 4-5 weeks ago, and you were just waiting for something bad to happen so you can say, you see? And I can't roll with you like that, man. I can't roll with y'all folk. I can't roll with y'all sometimey people, and especially the people that don't really understand football, that come in here in the chat, come on other platforms and podcasts with all this emotion bottled up, ready to unleash and just talk nonsensical. You know what I'm saying? Like just talk nonsensical rhetoric that just don't make no type of sense, and you're just talking based on emotion. You should never do anything based on emotion. That is how, that's how arguments ensue. That's how, bad decisions happen. You should always allow logic to sink in. You should never go into nothing, so irrational, so passionate to a point where you're not seeing the forest through the trees, period. If you're doing that, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because imagine, if the Saints go out there and they beat the New England Patriots and Jameis Winston throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. Then how you going to feel then? Then you got to find yourself backtracking and not answering the phone for your friends. All I'm saying is take the time to allow things to come together. It is 2 weeks into the season. And now all of a sudden we like the worst team in football. It's amazing what a week can do. We went from Saints being a Super Bowl contender, from TJ, you crazy if you say the Saints going to win 11 games, they're going to win about 13, to, oh man, I don't even think we're going to make the playoff. We're going to be picking in the top 10. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's a reason why Taysom is in his 30s and just now getting the chance to play quarterback. The 2 interceptions had 0% impact in the game at all. Andre, it seems to me that every time the ball was in Winston's hands, just as quickly he had players on him. Man, they had one play where he did a rollout of play action. And I'm talking about the guy. I'm talking about soon as he rolled out and was able to take his stance, I'm talking about the defender was like right in his face. That man had no protection yesterday. Like, don't take my word for it. Like, for real. Don't take my word for it. Go back and watch the game. Turn the sound down and just watch the game and watch how it played out. Just watch how it played out. I'm not gonna say that he didn't make mistakes. He did make some mistakes, but for us to just fully put it on this dude, I just feel like that it was your intentions the whole freaking time. That's what you wanted. You wanted this dude to go out there and play bad. You wanted him to throw interceptions. That's what you want. That's what you wanted. And you waited for that moment for you to come on shows like this to say, oh, I was right. That is early. Let me see. It ticked me off how people just blame Jameis and doggy him. They supposed to be Saints fans, but then they not real Saints fans. I don't even want to say they ain't real Saints fans. They just don't know that. Like, it just when emotions, you know what I'm saying, like takes over and logic is just down at the bottom somewhere in the mailroom. People are just so emotional and they don't know how to process what they see, right? And a lot of people, and I say this all the time. Who that nation? We need to stop listening to these people that put these thoughts into our minds. You know what I'm saying? I love everybody that looks at this podcast, but don't take my word for everything that I say. Don't go out here and be like, man, TJ, nah, bro. Like I'm just like everybody else. Okay, I'm just like everybody else. I watch the game. I tell you what I see. Some people probably behind the screen right now, watching this right now, probably shaking their head. I don't know about that, TJ, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying run with everything that I say. Oh, TJ had to stay the Saints podcast, so I learned a lot today. No, come to your own conclusions. Listen to what these people are saying, and then do your research and draw your own conclusions. And if you find yourself in between, that's fine. But some of us look at these talking heads every single day, and we see them talking about these guys. And you know what? We go into these barbershops and we talk on the phone and we text our friends and we get in these group chats and we regurgitate every single thing that these guys tell us. And we make it seem like we prophetic or something like that. We're not prophets. We're basically just taking what we heard and running with it. Some of us have got in our heads and planted in our heads that Jameis Winston is a terrible quarterback. From what he did in Tampa, from people talking about him and laughing at him when he throw interceptions, from all of these different things and narratives that they have put out about this guy, it is in our minds. And there is nothing that dude can do that will change our minds. There's nothing that he can do, because all of us are still feeling like it's just a matter of time before he does something and it's going to cost us. And that's forever how people are going to feel about this dude, good, bad, or indifferent. And I feel like that's a disservice to any single person that calls themselves a fan. That is a disservice to yourself. That is a disservice to the person that you're talking to. Go out there and draw your own conclusions based on what you research and find. Do not just take anybody's word for it. Like I said, I appreciate everybody, but don't just take my word for it. Do your own research, learn, develop, and do your own thing. And you know what I'm saying? And if you feel the same way, fine. But don't give me something that I'm about to hear at 3 o'clock, or I'm about to go on YouTube and I'm going to hear the same thing from some guy on Fox Sports or ESPN or something. Like, miss me with that, man. Miss me with that. I'm not about that, man. I'm not about the nonsense. I'm not about the nonsense. Excuse me. Who that 1992 says, I never said I want Winston to fail. I'm just saying he can't be trusted. Look at those 2 games. Unless someone is wide open, he can't do anything. Well, let me ask you this. What quarterback can do something when wide receivers on wide open? Somebody please tell me. What quarterback can do something if the offensive line ain't blocking? Can I interest you in Tom Brady's last year in New England? Can I interest you in that? A bunch of, I don't want to call them some scrubs, but a bunch of guys kind of similar to the same type of situation the Saints are in. A bunch of role wide receivers that are out there. No real playmakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, look what happened. You need a guy that can make some plays. You need some guys that can go out there and win their matchups. If you don't have that, I don't care if you're Joe Montana. I don't care if you're Brett Favre. I don't care if you're Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, Steve Young, or Drew Brees. You can be any one of those guys. If you don't have protection and if you don't have guys that can get open, you will fail. Period. I don't care what anybody says. No quarterback can succeed if you don't have wide receivers that can get separation. You cannot succeed. You cannot. It's just not going to happen. You are not going to do that. Well, some people say, well, Drew Brees did it. Drew Brees is different. Drew Brees is different. Drew Brees is an anomaly. Drew Brees is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. And when people compare people to Drew Brees, I just laugh and you know what I'm saying? I just laugh because it is just absolutely ridiculous. It is ridiculous to believe that a Drew Brees grows on trees. And it's also hypocritical for you to sit up here and just believe that, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you know, like people don't give Drew Brees his credit. Drew Brees don't get his credit for being a great quarterback. You give people credit for being great quarterbacks because they do things that other quarterbacks cannot do. Imagine this. If those 80,000 yards that Drew Brees threw, how amazing would it be if every Tom, Dick, and Harry can throw for 80,000 yards? How impressive could it be if every quarterback can throw for 5,000 yards on multiple occasions? How impressive can that be? Stop comparing people. Man, what Drew did. Drew did amazing things because Drew is amazing. Drew is a surefire Hall of Famer. Soon as 5 years up, I mean, right now they probably got Drew Brees gold jacket hanging out somewhere, you know what I'm saying, and Canton waiting for him. You know what I'm saying? And hoping that he stay the same weight and height. Period. Because he is going to go to the Hall of Fame. And people, like, you have to understand that great quarterbacks are hard to find. They're great for a reason. They're revered for a reason. They're celebrated for a reason. So if you're looking for Taysom, if you're looking for Jameis, if you're looking for Ian to be Drew Brees, stop wasting your time. Stop wasting your time because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Morning, TJ. Thank you for educating and getting people out their feelings. We did not play good, period. Jameis cannot block and pass at the same time. I'd have been put Taysom in as soon as I saw those preseason touchdowns. Let's see. I've been here. I believe in Jameis at least for this season. I am standing by him. Caleb guessing. TJ, I'm not giving them a pass. If they watched the game, Jameis to me really wasn't the problem. My offense wasn't the problem. Our offense was the problem, and special teams defense showed up. Yeah, I mean, look, special teams was good. Defense in the second half was good to me. But the special teams probably the best part of the team. Honestly, Winston wasn't the worst part of the offense. Play calling was not that good, which is understandable with the circumstances. No wide receiver separation. AK didn't get enough touches and awful O-line play. All that kind of stuff played a role. But the quarterback is the most important position on the field, so, people are going to blame the quarterback, Let's see. Jameis is going to have at least 2 interceptions against the Patriots. Let's see. Just imagine if when Winston gets coached up by Peyton. Winston was drafted number 1 overall for a reason. Honestly, Winston already read that one. So you mean to tell me that Taysom couldn't beat Jameis out? Why do you think he isn't the starter? He isn't the starter because he couldn't beat him out. He couldn't beat him out. Man, Jameis is a better quarterback than Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill can require a spark, but he is not going to be able to go out there week in, week out, game in, game out, and put up a star-studded performance. He's just not. He just not. Like, can the Saints win games with him? Yes, they can win with Taysom Hill, but they're not going to consistently win. They're not going to consistently win. I still think we're going to the Super Bowl. I mean, that remains to be seen, but I like the optimism. I don't think that this team is as bad. Like, man, the Saints were missing a lot of players, man. A lot of playmakers. TJ, watch your blood pressure. Don't like these fair weather fans get you riled up. I'm not riled up, man. I guess because I'm right there by the phone. I'm right there by the phone. Right there by the microphone. And, I'm just being honest. I'm just being real, man. My goodness, you know what I'm saying? How we just quick to just badmouth somebody, man? I mean, this was just an overall bad game. Let's see. I got your back when it comes to trolls and spammers. Let's see. Sean Payton took responsibility for the game. I trust he will get the team back on track. Our roster was preseason standard at best. We'll see. Whole team was trash, but when Taysom Hill got in, the Panthers D couldn't stop him. Okay. At least Taysom can scramble when he gets pressure. Winston looked clueless yesterday. I thought he got LASIK for them eyes. He can't see a lineman coming. Well, all I'm saying is the dude was under duress the whole game. Even, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was just under duress. Now, I will concede to this. I will concede. I do feel like the Saints would have been more competitive in this type of game with Taysom Hill. I will concede to that. I will. Because the way the pressure was getting to Jameis Winston, I do feel like Taysom probably would have ran out the pocket and been able to make some plays. I believe that. I'm not gonna lie to you. People that are saying that today, I agree. If this was a tailor-made Taysom Hill type game, I don't know if the Saints would have won. I don't know if the Saints, would have ended up, winning against Carolina. But do I feel like they would have scored more than 7 points? Yes, I do. Because, like I said, they was putting pressure on Jameis. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even though Jameis is not a statue and he can't run out of the pocket, Taysom, you know what I'm saying, Taysom running out of the pocket is a little bit different. So yes, I will concede to that. I feel like if this would have been a game that Taysom probably would have kept the Saints competitive because of his ability to run. You know what I'm saying? I do feel that way. I agree with that one. But overall, like Taysom going up to Foxborough, taking on the New England Patriots, do I feel? Nah, no, I do not. I feel like this would be one of those games where he throws, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of, you know what I'm saying, he would generate a lot of turnovers. Who that is fine is a fine line between being critical and being stupid, and I'm seeing a lot of stupid this morning. It's a Saints loss, man. It's a Saints loss. It's a Saints loss, you know. So it's a Saints loss. So you're not going to see much logic going on here. As y'all act like Taysom wasn't getting sacked last year because he couldn't read defense. Yeah, you know, all Taysom can do is run. I mean, you had to run in that game. But Kenneth, where were you last week, Tampa Bay fans? We don't want your advice. I just think, man, football is the game of emotions. Let me see. Patriots D is better than the Panthers going to be trouble again. We'll see. We are a middle of the pack team. Stop setting unrealistic expectations, please. All I want to know is, Ivan, like around week 10 or something like that, are you gonna show back up? And plus, man, for people that don't have faces on their profile, it's kind of hard for me to take them serious. I'm just being real. Hey, who that fam? Some people don't have faces on there, but it's hard for me to take people serious when they have those type of takes. Put a face on it. You know what I'm saying? Don't just put a name on it. Put a face on it. Give James some time. Taysom can run when there isn't a blitz. Taysom would have been the same against the blitz. I'm a Buck fan, still support Jameis. I'm looking for Jameis Winston and not Drew Brees. Haha, LOL. I saw this coming a mile away. Jameis is amazing one week and trash the next week. Let me see. I'm sure Taysom could easily have done at least what Jameis had done and then the same. I mean, it couldn't be no worse. Couldn't be no worse. I hope we play better next week. I'll be in New England yelling, who that? Let's see. TJ, no faces on the profile. Yeah, I mean, some people, you know what I'm saying, have like, you know, don't have faces on there, and then they'll talk, you know, they'll say, oh man, I believe in them. But then they got other people that I feel like just gonna come up with these profiles because they don't want to put no name on it. Like if you're gonna talk like that, man, you gotta put a name on it, a face on it. You know, you gotta put a face on it, man. You can't be sitting on here just throwing nonsense around. You know, you can't. Peyton Turner might turn into something for us. He was a bright spot on the defense. Yep. I'm around when the Saints were 1-15. I'm not going nowhere, sticking with Jameis. The whole team took accountability. Like I said, it'd be one thing if it was just, you know, it was just him, you know, and he would just run that thing just looking terrible and the team was just playing hard. But I mean, whole team, this was an awful game for everybody. Let's see. Sammy says the defense is awesome with CD and no on the field. Their skills allow the entire D to scheme any way they want. Without them, the defense is ho-hum energy. I agree. They were definitely missing him. Let me see. If Jameis finished the season as a starter, I will give you guys my address and have you all beat me up. Okay, we'll see. Jameis will be fine. I trust my franchise team and coaches. It's for one freaking game. Back to the drawing board. I'm a diehard Saints fan and won so much money this week. We are not that good. You can't be a diehard Saints fan and you betting against the team. Like seriously, you can't be a diehard Saints fan, and you can't be a logical fan if you're betting on a team 2 weeks in. You can't, like, just because you start the statement off like that, I have to say I don't believe you. I have to say I don't believe you. You can't, you know. And honestly, you know what I'm saying? And if you are like a Saints fan, you be like one of them waiting the trees fans. You know, you're one of them waiting in the trees fans. Like, because I mean, here's the thing. If you know what I'm saying, if they come out here and they are extremely successful, they make it to the playoffs, and they make a deep run in the playoffs. I mean, I just feel like, man, you can't just come out here and just say, oh man, I can't start it off and say I'm a Saints fan. Let's say I believe some are overreacting. This team and coaches are way too good to go a whole season looking bad. Trade Mike T. McCoy, Big O. Let me see. Things will change. We may not click till week 8. Well, I put it like this, man. Anybody that's basing their opinion on week 2, number one, you already had these reservations already. And number 2, like I said, like, you just wait for the sky to fall so you can, you just wait for the sky to fall and, be like, oh man, I knew it, but throw it, some Saints fans, they throw a jersey in the closet, and then when they win, they put it back up here. They'll change their profile name, act like they wasn't the person that was in the chat or on the line. But I can remember the New Orleans Saints, like I said, week 2 last year when they played the Raiders. They had the same type of energy. It was hearing all these type of things about the Saints weren't good and Saints weren't gonna make the playoffs, and then what the Saints end up doing? Yeah, they end up going 12-4. So yeah, okay. Let me see what happened to just watching and waiting. I don't build or wear down expectations. Learn from being from Jacksonville. At least the Saints don't have those type of problems. Let's see. This was a perfect storm of misfortune and events. Missing off. We ain't even really talking about that. Missing assistant coaches, depleted nickel package, personnel, injuries to your rotation, D-line, and being away from facility because of the storm. And also, man, look, once again, Eric McCoy calling out your coverages. Brand new cornerbacks. Bradley Roby, new. Desmond Trufant, new. Like the only person that was out there like there was, kind of like a mainstay has been PJ Williams and Marcus Williams. That's the only two. Like, those were the only two, man, that were out there. Like, even like Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins just got back to the Saints. So that's like a brand new second that Paulson and Debo, a rookie. And you ain't have like consistency out there. I mean, CJ Gardner-Johnson and Marshawn Lattimore, those are two like difference makers out there, man. And you got a guy that in Bradley Roby that just got there on Tuesday. Like, come on, man. That dude ain't grasped the playbook like that. He ain't not familiar with the playbook. We're not looking at all those different things. But like I said, it is what it is, man. Yeah. So somebody said, is Jameis here next year? I think he is. I think he will be. I think he will be. Let me see. The Saints have started slow for the last 5 seasons. All you fakers should pack up and head down to Tampa. Man, this happens. Like, this happens every year. This happens every year. Let's see. I'm surprised that Demario Davis was missing tackles. Not me. That was Christian McCaffrey he was going after. Christian McCaffrey make the best linebackers look ridiculous. It could have been way worse. The defense held it down for 40 minutes. And probably just let me see. I ended with a few more. Demario was up and down during the game. Man, Chris McCaffrey is man. If you have an appreciation for Alvin Kamara, you have to have an appreciation for Chris McCaffrey. Both of these guys make like the best players look ridiculous. And when was the last time we went 2-0 to start a season? Relax. I mean, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. Hill has Sanders, Kamara, and Mike T. Cam Wash. Oh, now we trying to figure out, bringing in another quarterback, right? Oh, we talking about Cam Jordan. I don't know. I'm reserving my judgment on Cam Jordan. Well, at least Peyton Turner played well without Ryan Nielsen. That's a positive right there. Well, my final thought before I get up out of here is it's just week 2. Some of us are ready to jump off a cliff. Some of us are ready to say, and the Saints suck. Some of us are saying that we're about to pick in the top 10. But at the end of the day, I mean, football is the game of emotions once again. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Saints are going to do to bounce back. I'm not giving up on my squad. The Saints can lose all the rest of their games. I can care less. I still be sitting up here saying, who that? I think the Saints are still going to be a playoff team. I think you have to take into account the guys that they're missing, on the offense and defensive side of the football. And also, I just think that you got to look at how the offensive line played. I don't think that they're going to I think that this game is just going to be a wake-up call. I think that the Saints are a team that is, a team that believes in accountability, and I think they're going to play better. So I think that Jameis Winston is going to have a better game. I mean, I don't think that it's just going to be like one of those bad games. I think that he's going to go out there and he's going to prove that he can play. So you got to get separation, with those wide receivers. If they're having issues, that's the coaching job to be able to try to scheme these guys open. They need to get Deonte Harris more involved in some of these games, and they also need to get Alvin Kamara, running in between the tackles. It was too much. It was too much, stretch and toss plays for me. I don't know if it was just the fact that they felt like, like the offensive line of the Saints couldn't beat those guys in order for Alvin Kamara to run up the middle. But you got to do something, man. And the team has got to be a run-first team. They got to put emphasis on the running game to set up some of those plays for the wide receivers. But thank you all so much. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. Facebook.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Thank you to the fine folks at Manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints and you will save 20% off of your purchase. Also, check out mybookie.ag for those like Ivan who like to place bets on football games. All you have to do is put down a $10 deposit for your chance to win $500,000 in their giveaway. Once again, mybookie.ag, and you use the promo code SOS to place your bets for those that are into that type of stuff. All right. So thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay off the cliff. Stay off the weed for some of y'all doubters. And like always, all I got to say is, who that?